What was it like covering Herb Brooks, Al? What was it like when you were knocking on the coach's door to try and get some information or some emotions?
I was very lucky in the sense that Herb, I guess, was a little bit like Bill Belichick in a way, where he always kept everybody at arm's length. Certainly the media, and the media bears no semblance then, or bore no semblance then to what it does right now, for starters. But there were people who wanted to, get inside the team and have some access to the team. And Herb was very good at, closing that door. But what was great for us was that Herb had so much respect for Ken Dryden.
Yeah.
So we had the kind of access to Herb that nobody else had, because not only did Herb have respect for Ken, but I think he wanted Ken's feedback. Belichick is like that too. Belichick will engage people, whether it's the media or whatever, who feels that they can give certain feedback. In other words, Belichick and Chris Collinsworth have a very good rapport, and part of that is that Bill wants to hear Chris's feedback. Chris is that good. So we had a little bit of that, and we were able to get together with Herb 4 or 5 times and have the kind of access to him that nobody else had. The one thing about Herb is, and you saw that, we beat the Soviets. He just disappears. You don't see him, at the medal ceremony. He was so focused on being a hockey coach. What did he do the week after Lake Placid? He could have been the king of America. Mm-hmm. He went to coach a club team in Davos, Switzerland. So for Herb, it was, he never exulted in the moment the way he should have. I don't know whether it was personality or what, but he was a hockey coach. He did his job. On to the next thing.
How about behind the scenes, Jim Craig? How about that with him?
Well, I think Al's done a really good job. Bill Belichick's a real good friend of mine, and I see so many similarities to Herb. And what Bill does and what Herb does is they have the ability to recruit the right person that they know wants to be better and that they can make better. And every way is a little bit different. And so when you look at Herb, I mean, and Al, in doing this book and really looking into it, how much he studied on how to beat the Russians and the overspeed that they did. And I know that Ken Dryden, and because of the respect that Herb had and the thirst for knowledge, I mean, Herb always wanted to get better. And that's what my enjoyment with his was the same. In '79, when I played in the World Championships with Herb, I didn't even know what he looked like. So it wasn't like this was kind of like meant to be. And I think Herb was just so good at figuring out a way to win and recruiting the right people to be on his team.
It make it seem like if he could have worn a hoodie and cut off his sleeves, he would have done that behind the bench in Lake Placid.
Well, I think it'd be more like Belichick wearing one of those jackets. I think, and I know Bill reveres our team and what we were able to accomplish. He has that photo in his office. And it's really interesting. When you make a commitment as a coach to make each and every player better every day and don't just identify who's good and who's bad, it's a different job. And, I know with Herb, he always tried to figure out a way to win. And that's what this whole book is doing about it. Cardiac Jack, I don't know if you know who that is, Al, but that was his conditioning guru.
Right.
That one day he's on a deck and he goes to him, how are we going to beat the Russians? And Jack, who is a physicist, said, well, you have to change everything you do. And then, Herb didn't take anything lightly. So having Kenny Dryden there and have the ability to pick Kenny's brain, and I think a lot of things Herb wanted was reinforcement because his style and his way of doing things was so revolutionary.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.